all day. I'm sick of tea.
Sick of tea? That's like being sick of breathing.
This is the best tea in the city.
The secret ingredient is love.
What's up everyone, this is MHags Art back with another bullet journaling video. I post a new bullet journal video every month and each theme is based on one of my favorite TV shows or movies. So today I'll be doing my April setup, which you probably guessed from the intro is Avatar: The Last Airbender themed. So make yourself a cup of Iroh's favorite beverage, grab your Sungi horn and pie show set, and let's get journaling. Like a lot of people, Avatar is one of my favorite shows of all time. I had a couple ideas for this theme and it was really hard to choose, but when I saw this picture on Pinterest, I just knew I had to do my own version. I don't know if that's supposed to be Iroh's son Luten or Zuko when he's younger, but I just think this picture is so cute. Unfortunately, I couldn't find who the original artist is because it's one of those pictures that's just been reposted so many times. But if anyone knows who the original artist is, please let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to give them credit in my description. I would have loved to do a full painting like the original fan art, but I was just feeling so burnt out this month. Even though I was excited to do an Avatar theme, I just felt zero inspiration or motivation to do it, unfortunately. But I wanted to get it done before the end of the month, so I forced myself to start and actually got into a zone really quickly, proving the age-old adage, the hardest part is starting, always rings true. I made it a lot easier on myself and just colored it in with two different tan Tombow dual brush pens instead of painting the entire thing with watercolors like I originally wanted to. But I actually ended up really liking the vibe that the tan coloring gave it. It was like a drawing on an old scroll or something. The only thing I wasn't happy with was how I drew the leaves of the trees and how I colored that in. So you'll see soon that I'm going to cover part of it up with craft paper, which I'm going to use throughout these spreads. Even though it doesn't completely cover up the tree, I think it distracts enough from it that I ended up really happy with how this cover page turned out. Also, I apologize for the amount of times my cat has walked into the shot. He was quite displeased that I was bullet journaling and not paying attention to him on this day. But to finish off the cover page, I went with the Iroh quote, "Follow your passion and life will reward you." Now, if you've watched my other videos, this spread will come as a surprise, but I made a real calendar this month. I know. Normally, I just make an important dates list and not an actual calendar, but seeing how this is my last month of school for the semester, I thought it would be helpful to see when all my final projects and papers and stuff are due on a calendar. For the design, I went with something really simple and I used the same Tombow dual brush pens as the cover. Then you'll see me add an area of focus because I thought I had extra space to include it. But then I realized I miscounted the days and forgot a dot for the 30th. So I just covered up the mistake and added the 30th in, and the crisis was averted. Next, I made a spring cleaning to-do list. Since it's now spring where I live, I figured this would be a good time to do some deep cleaning that I haven't done in a while. So I just wanted a place to write it all down, all the cleaning tasks that I want to get done this month. This favorite spread is one I've been doing every month. It's just where I like to write down my favorite things about the TV show or movie that I chose as my theme for the month. I like to include things like my favorite characters and episodes because I think it'll be a fun thing to look back at and see if my favorite things change over time. For the decoration, I drew a White Lotus pie show tile and some more plants. I'm not really happy with how this drawing turned out, but you know, not everything in your journal will be perfect, and that's okay. So my habit tracker is pretty straightforward as usual. At the bottom, I colored in some mountains with the tan Tombow dual brush pens. This kind of ended up looking like Appa flying across the desert in Appa's Lost Days on accident, and I'm not mad about it. And then for my mood tracker, I had this idea to draw it like a sundial and Appa flying in front of the sun. So the dial is definitely a little wonky, not drawn the best, but it was my first time drawing one of these types of mood trackers. So, again, it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. Next are my weekly spreads, which after much thought and consideration, I decided to condense 2 weeks into a single spread because lately I'm mostly using my weeklies for general tasks and to-do lists. My schedule is just so busy right now with work, school, and an internship that I end up using my Google Calendar app to keep track of it all. I don't even end up looking at my schedule in my journal, so I wasn't even filling it out, and I was ending up with a lot of blank space in my weeklies. But I still made a small column on the side for important events that I need to remember or school assignments that are due. Other than that, I just kept it super simple, had some space for some to-do lists on each, and a little drawing of a plant. So this next page was supposed to be for my monthly review. I wanted it to be a mirror image to the front cover, but depicting the scene from Tales of Ba Sing Se, which I really debated on including because I was like, do I really want something this sad in my journal? But it's just such a beautiful scene. And like I said, I thought it would be a good parallel to the cover page. Anyway, I ended up liking it too much to have it be my monthly review. I didn't want to ruin it with my ugly handwriting. So I decided to just make it a second quote page. I also drew the leaves differently this time since I didn't like how they turned out on the first one, and I'm more happy with this tree. Unfortunately, when I glued down this craft paper, some of the glue tape stuck out from under the craft paper, and I knew the minute I closed my bullet journal, the glue would stick to the other page and ruin my Iro drawing I liked so much, so I tried to gently scrape away the glue with my X-Acto, but it was still really sticky, So I decided to cover up the whole thing with a new piece of craft paper. It was a pain in the butt, but I think I mostly managed to save the spread. And the quote I chose was, "If you look for the light, you can often find it, but if you look for the dark, that is all you will ever see." It's technically from Korra, but it's still Avatar, so it counts. But it's one of my favorite Iroh quotes, so I definitely wanted to include it in here. I got inspired to make a quarterly review page after watching Journal Away's April 2021 setup. I really liked the idea of checking in on my progress of my goals for the year. I already managed to complete my goal of writing a script this year. So with that done, I'm going to take the next 3 months to focus on sketching. I really want to get back into drawing and making more art for just me. Next to my quarterly review, I included a monthly review page, which I like to include in all my monthly setups. While I show off my final flip through, I want to talk about something really important and provide a trigger warning because I will be briefly talking about the increase in anti-Asian violence. Here in America, we borrow so much from Asian cultures or have things inspired by Asian cultures, including, Avatar: The Last Airbender. And yet Asian people continue to experience violence and harassment based on their race, especially due to the pandemic. So many bullet journaling materials are from Asian cultures, such as washi tape and brush pens. A lot of these companies we buy these materials from are Asian companies, so it's important to educate yourself on the issues affecting Asian people while we simultaneously benefit from their culture. As a white person, I experience a lot of privilege because of my race, and I always try to stay educated and be a good ally to Asian folks, and I hope you try to do the same. I will link some resources in my description below for you all to check out, including Amanda Rachlee's April 2021 setup video where she talks about her firsthand experience being Chinese Canadian. She speaks about all of these important topics much more eloquently than I do. So please go watch her video if you haven't already. And with that said, that is all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.
This tea is nothing more than hot leaf juice.
Uncle, that's what all tea is.
How could a member of my own family say something so horrible?